Okay. Peace and blessings and namaste to all light warriors, workers, and everything in between. It is I, Sophie, today, and I am so sorry. This StreamYard has been having a certain amount of issues that was going on. So I'm having a problem at the moment of even trying to share the broadcast, and it's been glitching. And, of course, I'm not the only one who has been experiencing this. Peace and blessings. Creative Gang is in the building. Stephanie, the Bronx Yogi, Jaway, thank you for joining me. I am going to be doing a PowerPoint presentation, and we are going to be talking about certain types of relationships. I need to make sure that I can get all of this working, though, because I don't know. It was glitching. And of course it would. So let me see, make sure I can do the share screen. All right, give me 1 second, please. All right, let's go. All right, so it's the alchemy of relationships. Now, okay, I got it. There we go. Okay, now I know a lot of you got kind of sidetracked by the name of it because I did, the alchemy of relationships and also sex magic. The things that I'm going to hit on today are things that you may be aware of or may not be aware of, especially when it comes down to sex magic. Now, you know that this is the type of channel where, I always encourage you to think for yourself. Why? What is my motto? If you don't think for yourself, someone else will do the thinking for you. Okay, so we are all wanting to think for ourselves. We are wanting to learn how to think in higher levels of consciousness so that we can transmute things that come along our way. And in this presentation, I'm going to be dealing with all types of relationships. Okay, I'm talking about family issues, organizations, buildings, communities, romantic relationships, all of this, because we have to work with people. We have to work with people on this realm, and we have to learn how to alchemize certain things when they come up on us. So let's get it started. Okay. Alchemy of relationships presented by not joining. That's okay, because I understand people are at work or writing. You'll just come back and look at it a little later on. Okay, no big deal. So let's deal with the types of relationships we will be discussing today. We're going to deal with the relationships with self and also with source. Okay, creator. We're going to deal with romantic relationships. We're going to deal with business, organizations, and community, people that we work with. And we're also going to deal with our family and our friends. Why? Because we're master alchemists now, right? We have learned that this universe is mainly mental. And we have learned that as we think, we co-create. Okay, so how we deal with our relationships, how we alchemize our relationships makes an entire difference on how we have a perspective of our everyday life and the world that we are around. So we're going to start here. Remember, in the last video I did the difference between perception and perspective, and how perception is the way that you look or your experience, and then we formulate a perspective off of our own personal experiences. So when we're dealing with perception, we are dealing in the root chakra. So this is our foundation. Okay. We have to fight through predictive programming. What is predictive programming? Predictive programming is what you see every day, what's being pumped to you out in the news, what's going on YouTube land, what's going on in social media. Okay, what's been passed down to you from generation to generation, the training of how you're supposed to think. Dads, granddads, great granddads, they all teach their masculines a certain way. Okay, same way. Great grandmothers, mothers, we all learn a certain way. This is generational traditions. Okay, but some of you are here to break that. All right, some of you are here to change all of that. So we're going to dive into that. Okay, when it comes down to romantic relationships, we have to deal with the energy exchanges. We have to know the difference between conditional love and unconditional love. We have to know when we are sexually compatible with somebody. And there is a lot of clues that will let you know that too, even in your genetic biological makeup, the way a woman may smell, after she's engaging in intercourse with a man. You know, sometimes it throws her pH balance off. If you've ever find yourself, especially if you're single and you're having intercourse with a man, and every single time afterwards, you know, you're finding that you're having an odor, or you're having you know, a discharge or things of that nature. It might not necessarily mean that that man is carrying an STD, but we're talking about compatibility now. We're talking about what would throw your pH balance off according to our genetic makeups, okay? And when you're of a specific bloodline, you have to be very careful about this. Okay, you have to be very careful about it. All right, we're also going to deal with types of attraction, you know, what brings groups together, what brings people together. We're going to deal with business organizations and community collaboration versus competition, discernment versus how to identify what the weak link is. Now, understand when I'm talking about organizations and collaborations of people that we are working and dealing with, I'm not talking about YouTube land. I'm not talking about, you know, what we would consider social media. I'm talking about people that you deal with every single day, that is part of your journey, that you're trying to build with, that you're trying to move. You know, these are people that you are sharing your intimate secrets with, things of that nature. All right. So we want to understand who's in our circle, what purpose they may serve. Okay. And if they have a negative purpose, we want to learn how to alchemize that as well. All right. We also want to deal with energies and energetic sabotages. You know, you're going to have people in your camp. It's part of life. All right. We can't get mad about it. We're going to have people in our camp that are there to sabotage. Okay. They don't even know that they're there to sabotage, but we're going to get into that. We want to deal with family and friends. You know, were you the black sheep? You know, or were you the generational curse breaker? Are you dealing with an ancestral bloodline? Are you here to help assist that ancestral bloodline? Okay, all of these things we're going to talk about today in a very healthy way, because my job is to get you guys to think on higher levels of consciousness so that you will transmute quickly, okay, effortlessly, because you're in the highest vibration, and then the world will open up to you and you become that ambassador. You become that ambassador on this realm. You become that logos. Okay, let's go. All right, now perception affects relationships. Okay, so what is the perception? Our foundation, what we experience, how we're processing what we're experiencing. And the root perception affects other chakra perspectives. All right. So if the root is the foundation and it is everything that you have experienced, how you are processing your reality, then it also is going to affect how you process every chakra. Every chakra. In other words, you can have an unhealed heart chakra, but you don't even know that you have an unhealed heart chakra, because your perception or your perspective could be rooted in a false perception. So you may think that you're being healthy. You may think that you're intuitive. You know, we may think that, you know, we're creative, but we're still kind of blocked, right? We're still kind of blocked, but you would not know that you were blocked unless you actually go through the changes and the transitions that is necessary to see yourself, right? This whole journey is about ourselves, no matter how we look at it, right? So we want to deal with relationships, either healthy or unhealthy, is still rooted in perspective. Outdated beliefs that regenerate through karmic cycles. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You know, you may have been brought up thinking that relationships work this way because that's all you've ever seen. That's all you've ever known. And then as life starts to teach you, you might realize that's not working for you. Okay. But don't feel obligated to keep up a tradition that's not working for you or is not healthy for you. So we're going to deal with that too. And always know, hindsight has always been 2020. All right. You'll always get to that point where either you're in reaction or action mode. You're going to react right then and there. You're going to make mistakes. And then later on in life, you're going to reflect back on that and say, you want to know what? This is what I could have done differently. Or this is what this is how I should have handled that situation. Okay. But it's never too late to change that. So we'll be great. Trust me. Okay. So we understand the chakras and how perceptions can affect the chakras. Okay. Can make you think that you're healthy, intuitive, creative, and you might not even scratch the surface yet. You might not have even scratched the surface. So just know that you're way greater than where you are currently now. It's getting ready to be better for you. Okay. So we're going to go here. We're going to deal with common foundations of relationships. Okay. This little chart on the side, it builds off trust, communication, problem solving, collaboration, and then execution. I think it's a little off balance for me because communication to me is the foundation. But whatever works with you, you can switch these. You need to know that when it comes down to what we are attracting and the foundations of relationships, mainly can exist with physical sexual attraction, but that's only in the material world. Okay, so we deal with physical and sexual attraction. When it comes down to business and finances, understanding, where you are headed in life, what you are trying to build, that's also material. Okay, we're going to deal with parasocial, or what they consider fictophilia. That's in the mental realm. What is fictophilia? Fictophilia is romanticizing or having a grandiose idea of something that may not even be real. So a lot of times we look at these YouTube platforms, we look at these channels, we look at these influencers, and they're so beautiful and they're so this, and we build an unhealthy connection with them, a relationship based off of what we are seeing. But we never really know that person, do we? Okay, so we want to deal with that. Okay, that's in the mental realm as well. Make sure you get out of it. Okay, if you're doing it, make sure you get out of it. Some relationships are formed out of trauma bonding. Okay, if you have never heard of this concept, trauma bonding is when people get together based off of a certain trauma. It could be something that you grew up with. Maybe you was a child or victim of abuse. You might run into somebody that had the exact same story. And you two will bond together and move forward because you have the exact same perspective of life or the exact same outcome of life. Now, if two unhealed people trauma bond in that matter, it's only a matter of time that somebody will heal. And when that happens, either the other party has to heal with you or that relationship is going to be torn apart. Okay? Because that is the glue. You must understand that any foundations that you build or base your relationships off of has to stand the test of time. This means if you start off a relationship with the foundation of sex, okay, and that's the core of your foundation, when that's no longer good or no longer satisfying, what do you rely on? Okay, some people form relationships because they want to heal one another. Okay, this is the opposite of trauma bonding. This is the type of bonding where you both have suffered through something. You understand that you suffered through something, but instead of bonding because of that, you're now deciding that, hey, let's work towards a solution. You went through it. I went through it. Let's heal one another. Okay. And we want to heal one another because that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do, guys. We got to love each other. We got to heal each other. We got to carry one another. All right. We can have karmics or soulmate relationships. Soulmate relationships, you're going to automatically know, right? You ever run across somebody? I don't even care if it's online. Okay. Run across somebody and you form an instant connection with them as if you've known them all your life. You feel comfortable talking to them. You feel comfortable being around them. You share your little intimate secrets with them, right? And you're wondering, why am I so closely bonded with this individual, but I'm so guarded with everybody else? Well, chances are there could be a soulmate for you. Okay. Soulmate meaning, when I'm saying that, somebody from your tribe, what I consider your soul tribe, somebody that's right in alignment with you, somebody that's on the same mission as you. Okay. And you will recognize that. On the flip side of that, you have karmic soulmates. Excuse me. Karmic soulmates, people give that name karmic a very negative type of connotation, stereotype with it. But the karmic relationship is here to actually teach you. Okay. So when you're bringing in karmic soulmates, these are reflections of you. All right. These soulmates come in to teach you a valuable lesson. It does not mean you're supposed to be with them forever. Okay. They can come in forms of friends, family members. They can come in forms of actually having a relationship or marriages. They can come all over the place, but they are here to evolve your soul. So they reflect all your junk right back to you, all of it right back in your face. Okay. And you typically have a hard time. This is not somebody that you're going to build with, but this is somebody that you're going to be prepared with because the creator needs you to elevate in some form of fashion, something that you're doing. So they'll bring somebody in your life like that to drive you absolutely nuts. All right. But if you make it through the process, I can guarantee you that you'll be a better person for that. And the next person that you do get involved with, you would have taken all of those lessons from that past relationship with you, and you'll transform it and become something beautiful. Okay. Then we form relationships out of purpose and creation. Now, this can be spiritual and material. All right. So if you're here on this journey and you have identified what your unique purpose is, nobody can tell you this now. Remember, we serve here as guides. I mean, we can point you in the right direction, but when it comes down to what your soul purpose is, that's between you and the creator. Right. And once you get that, you understand it, you fly with it. Now you may form relationships surrounded that. You may be getting people that come to you that needs to help you or assist you in that purpose or co-create with you because y'all are on one accord. That's always been said, people can't walk together unless they agree, right? So this will hit the spiritual realm and the material realm, okay? Spiritual first, because you're aligning with your divine purpose. Material second, because you have to now bring it into fruition in the 3D or the 5D. All right. So these are the common foundations that we form and build relationships. They can either work for you or they can work against you. But either way, you have to know how to alchemize each and every one of these situations. And when I get a little later on, I am going to open this up. And what I mean by open this up, I mean audience participation. There are some things I'm going to ask you how you would alchemize things. And I want to hear your response. Okay. We want to keep going. Here's what we need to know. To those who say, hey, I need a purification ritual, or I need anything like that. You need to know that thought precedes action. All right. This is why I keep telling you guys, the magic happens in the mind. Okay. All of your religious leaders, all of your writings, all of your ancient texts always talk to you about the power of thought. I don't care what religious system you go to. It will tell you about how you need to think. So remember this. Before any action takes place, there is thought followed by intention. Purify the intention to magnify the thought. Now that is a Sophism. That's a Sophism. If you purify the intention, you will magnify the thought. Okay. So this is a filter in what we do. The lighter the energy that we vibrate in, the easier it is to manifest because the intentions are pure and we're operating under the highest law. Okay. And if you don't understand what the highest law is, it is unconditional love. And what comes along with that will be truth. Okay. That will come along with that. So before we even get into any type of actions, we know that the thought has to come first. So we're thinking now, what do I wish to accomplish on this realm? What do I need to accomplish this goal? What characteristics am I looking for in others? In other words, are they complimenting me? Okay. Can I identify the strengths and weakness in self and in others? Okay. So you always want to identify your strength and your weaknesses first, because when you're recruiting in your teams, in your businesses, in your collaborations, you want to have all of your bases covered. So the areas that you may be weak in and that that's where you find somebody that's strong in, and vice versa. Okay. You have to always think to yourself, can I build with this person or can I build with this team? Can I trust this individual or can I trust this team? Okay. Now, being as though you are a highly spiritual being and very advanced, your intuition should tell you this. Okay. You should be able to understand by behaviors, discerning behaviors, whether or not someone is trustworthy. Okay. But I'm telling you that during this time that we are co-creating and building this new earth, you have to have that balance. All right. Mind and heart. You have to have that balance. When you're seeing people, learn how to see through people. All right. Don't just see them with this eye, see them with your third eye. Don't just pay attention to what's being said. Pay attention to what's not being said. All right. The power of the divine feminine is in her silence, her observation, the ability to see without seeing, and vice versa. Okay? So now, I want to say this. We want to look for certain tools for alchemy and leadership. Okay? Age-old questions. Are leaders made or born? I'm getting ready to tell you the answer to that is both. The leader is ordained from birth, but must face adversity to awaken his or her true divine essence. Leaders need collaboration with others in an organization, business, or community, and therefore must be discerning, as a team is only as strong as its weakest link. Okay, we've heard that over and over again, but you don't know how important this is. You can build a good team of collaboration, and it only takes one. Okay, it only takes one moment of weakness within that team or that team member to dismantle and corrupt the entire thing. Okay, so paying attention to where your weakest link is and either working to strengthen them so that they can be that member that you need, or making a decision to let them go. Here's are some of the things that you are going to find when you are collaborating in the workplace. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna slide this over. I'm gonna look in the comments for a minute. It's hard for me to see why I got these things open right now. All right, but you will have. Hey, Keela, Steph, Kevin, how are you doing? How are y'all doing? Nice to see you, Jamia, Dreadful Cosmon, beautiful people. Thank you for coming in. Get this PowerPoint going. All right, now here's certain things that you may face. When you're collaborating with others. Okay, you have the usurper. The usurper is going to work very closely with you to learn just so they can try to replace you. Okay, understand the characteristics of the usurper. They will be up underneath you. They want to learn everything they need to, but the real goal is to take your place. All right, you have the saboteur. Okay, this energy works closely with you to learn how to stop you. So this is a sabotaging energy. A lot of times, like what I'm saying, a lot of people don't even know that they're operating in this energy. You have to have the discerning eye to be able to identify it and maybe even help that person see that this is a repeated pattern that they're doing unaware. Okay, you have competition. Now, these people will work closely with you to steal ideas just to compete with you. So they hang up with you, they're learning with you, and then next thing you know, they're doing something else, taking your ideas, taking everything, and now they're really in competition with you. But they're acting like they're your friend. Be able to recognize that as well, guys. You want to know why? Because you're building something. And when it comes down to building something, you need to have a team that you can trust, because you got to go forward. All right. You have the busybody, and everybody knows what this is. And make sure you not operate like that's right. Keela said, make sure we're not operating like that as well. Okay. Then you got the busybody. The busybody works closely with you to find out the inside scoop. Everybody knows this, right? And everybody has experienced this. So when you have the busybody energy, those are typically people that's talking. Can't wait to tell what you're doing to everybody else, right? Then you have the infiltrator. Now, this person works closely with you just to report to your actual competition. All right. Now, why am I bringing this up? Yes, this occurs in the physical, but it also occurs in the spiritual. All right. So why is it so important? Because you have to have that discerning eye. You have to collaborate with like-minded individuals. When you deal with things like this, it will lower your vibration. It will sabotage what you're trying to build. And not saying that because we are operating under unconditional love that we have to accept these things. This is not the case at all. So I want to ask you, if anybody in there, because this is the part where I want to ask you, how would you transmute this? Okay. If you were building something and you found a usurper a saboteur, a competitor, a busybody, or an infiltrator? How would you change this? How would you alchemize this situation to have it work in your favor? Anybody want to answer? It's no right or wrong answers to this. Okay. It's just dealing with how you look or how you perceive things. Anybody want to answer? How would you make any of these things work for your favor or for your good? Jaway, okay. He said you do this when you move in silence. All right. Everybody agree? Sometimes you just got to move in silence. You can't let people know what your right hand is doing, right? So that's how he would handle it, transmute it for his own good. Jamia says, continue to shine light, offer them a position. Now that's a nice one, okay? So now what she has done was turned her enemy into an ally. She learned how to transmute that energy, offer them a position, okay? That eliminates the competition. Very good. Anybody else? Anybody else? No? Okay. This is one of those situations where I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm not going to give you the answer for these. We'll get into some detailed stuff, but this is an exercise for you guys to understand how to move and maneuver when it's time to, and how to transmute. So I want you on your own time to actually think about how you would take something so negative and turn it into something positive. And a few of you already got it. All right. So that's beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Thank you guys. Now, with family issues, all of us ain't have the best upbringing. Okay. A lot of people, most people don't have a lot of, good upbringings. But when you're going back and you're reflecting now on that, the issue, the dynamics of what you were raised under, whether it was violence, whether it was just, split families, whether it was toxicity that was passed down to generation, when you look back at your family dynamic, okay, do you have a positive or a negative feeling towards it? If you do have a negative feeling towards it, you must learn how to alchemize that, because the things that you may have experienced were a part of your growth. Because in order for you to be this dynamic powerhouse, these ambassadors on this realm, you're going to have to face some opposition. You're going to have to tear down some generational curses. You're going to have to be the one that sets up for generational wealth. You may be the one to break this off. So how do we do that? We change the way that we view things when it happened to us. We're no longer going to harbor it into our minds as, okay, I'm just going to be a victim for the rest of our lives. We don't do that. Here's some speeches. Here's some ways that you can do this, okay? Somebody might have said to you, my father hated me. I would respond, my father was wounded. Do you see what I just did? Instead of I was treated differently, you can process that I was misunderstood. Instead of saying I had it tough, you'll want to say I chose a harder journey. Okay? Instead of saying I was the black sheep, you can process this as I was the curse breaker. Instead of I wish they would change, I accept them for who they are. I put down here, I eat lion cousin, because I'm going to tell you a story about that in a minute. Okay? Instead of my child is rebellious, my child is a free thinker. All right. Now, does not mean that they don't go unpunished. Okay. I'm just telling you how to change the way that you think so that it's a higher level of thought so that you can react higher. Okay. Not saying that we're going to take away from anything that was done from us. But when you are in a higher level of thought, your reaction, the way you process information, your perception changes. It shifts. And this is how you co-create. So now I have a little story for this. We had a cousin that lied all the time. All the time. Like this was his MO. Okay, lie, he would steal, and everybody knew it. Okay, you go around to different family members' houses, tell a lie, do this and third. They would get mad every single time this happened. Why do you get mad at a liar when he lies? Why would you get mad at a thief when they steal? You already know who they are. There's no point in getting angry about it. Okay? You learn to accept that this person is a liar, this person is a thief, and then you maneuver accordingly. But you no longer hold, like, harness anger or resentment when they do that to you, because you're not expecting anything different. The shock should be when they actually change. Okay? So when you're alchemizing, you are in a place where you're no longer processing things in its negative connotation. You are processing things exactly for what it is. Therefore, it no longer affects you. You can't get mad at a liar for being a liar, a thief for being a thief. You can't get mad for a snake being a snake. What you do is learn how to accept it. And now you put them in their proper role in your life. They can no longer disappoint you. Okay? Do y'all understand what it is that I'm saying when I'm talking about transmuting? Because I can't see the audience. Yes, change your perception. I feel both ways about my childhood. Learn to use their skill sets in a strategic, positive manner. I like that, Ty. I like that. Thank you. But that is another way that you can transmute as well. Okay? But when we're dealing with family issues and things like that, we learn how to put our mind in peace, because your peace is very important right now. This is how you manifest, and this is how you raise. Okay? Don't deal with things that disrupt your peace. Accept them for exactly what they are, and then move accordingly. All right? So y'all hear me talk about unconditional love and things of that nature. We don't have a full grasp of what it is. A lot of people think that when we're saying unconditional love, and when we're saying, forgiveness and things like that, oh my God, hold on for a second, guys. Unconditional love and forgiveness. Oh, no. Okay. Add the stream. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Okay. I'm so sorry. It's saying my battery on my laptop is going dead, but it's plugged up. So that's a little weird. All right. Unconditional love. So let's go. So we're thinking forgiveness. Oh, we're just going to be in la la land. People are going to get away with everything, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's not what unconditional love is. Okay. So let's clarify this so that we can understand that it's okay to operate in this highest law. What it is the ability to accept faults in self and others. Okay. Non-judgmental. I already gave you the example. We know who they are. Okay. If they're liars and thieves, you already know what it is. That doesn't mean you have to hate them. That means that you love them, you accept them, but you might not be able to deal with them. They might not be in your close circle. You understand? It's preferring to see others heal instead of being destroyed. So you got somebody that's out here in toxic behavior, that's running amok. You're not going to pray for their downfall. You're going to process it like, oh my God, they have such a huge lesson. So that's when that empathy turns on. But you're not going to get involved with them until they go through that process. Okay? You have the ability to disconnect from relationships without ill will. It's a thin line between love and hate. So you have to understand or process, are you really dealing with love? Okay? Because if you're only good and you're only loving that person when they are working with you, when they are working for you, or when they are agreeable with you, and then the moment that you guys separate, now you're targeting them, then you hate them, that's not unconditional love. You don't need to have ill will. You bless somebody on their journey and say, I hope you figure it out. Okay. So we don't sit around and pray for other people's downfall. We just keep it moving. Okay. We got the spirit of the creator with us. We're going to keep building. We're going to keep creating. Maybe they'll come back to us in time. All right. Okay. You have the ability to forgive others regardless of the benefits, i.e. closure. There's some people that have a hard time forgiving because they haven't gotten the closure that they needed. Closure is not necessary. Okay. You can detach and let things go in your own heart space and in your own mind space. You don't have to have a reason why somebody abandoned you. You don't have a reason why somebody walked away from you. All you can do is accept for what it is. And you don't need a reason to forgive them. Just know that that person is hurt or damaged. Okay. So closure is unnecessary when you start to evolve with self and you understand that this may not be no longer a part of my journey. I don't need to know the whens or whys. I'm just going to let them go. Okay. Then you have empathy versus hatred, appreciation of life lessons. So what do we end up doing? We go through obstacles. We go through all of this mess, that are blocking in us and this, that, and the third. And we learn how to appreciate the hard journeys. Why? Because we become so much stronger, so much more powerful. All right. So now what is not is enabling, sheltering, or codependency. Get out your mind that when I say I love everybody unconditionally, that means that I don't have barriers or standards. Okay. That is not the truth. But when you are enabling, sheltering, or codependent, you are really not loving that person. You're not helping them. You're enabling them. So in a way, you're encouraging the bad behavior. So don't think that unconditional love is void of correction. That's not how that works. Okay. And we have karmic laws. It means that you don't have to do the correcting because we already have laws in place for that. Okay. So we don't have to play judge and jury all the time, when it comes down to certain things. What it is not is also self-sacrificing to the detriment of your own soul. Hey, this is your temple. You better understand that your body is your temple. All right. You're not going to self-sacrifice to the point where you're going to cause destruction to your own evolutionary growth. You can't help anybody in that area. Okay. So it doesn't mean you have to self-sacrifice and put up with mess that is damaging to you, that's going to hurt you, it's going to destroy your soul, your foundation. No, we don't do that. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. It is not failure to correct when necessary. We already went through that. We are definitely going to correct. You're not going to let your child, walk off the porch. You're not going to let your child walk into the deep end of the swimming pool. Okay. So when it comes down to that, don't think that unconditional love just means we got to let everything go willy-nilly. Everything has its place. You're just learning your place within it. Okay. So let us keep going. Oh, we're going to get to the stuff y'all really came to hear about. Soul ties and love and the love hormone. Has anybody heard of oxytocin? Let me look in the chat real quick. Has anybody heard of oxytocin? Peace, love, and light, Yahuda. No? Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. Oxytocin is a hormone that's produced in the hypothalamus and released into the bloodstream by the pituitary gland. Its main function is to facilitate childbirth, which is one of the reasons it is called the love drug or love hormone. Okay. It is also sometimes referred to as the love hormone because levels of oxytocin increases during hugging and orgasms. Okay. Hugging and orgasms. Now, why am I saying this? When I'm talking about this hormone that is being released, that is called oxytocin, it is preparing the soul for union. I want you to think about this. It is prepared. So each time you are engaged sexually with a partner, the mind processes it as being engaged in union. The body produces something to get ready to give childbirth. So you're binding yourself even though you're not aware of it. Okay. So your soul can make ties with people that you don't need to be making ties with. So how does this affect our relationships? It depends on how fragmented your soul has become. And don't think that you can't bring it back into order. Of course you can. You know, anybody can go, you know, and cleanse themselves, but you will develop soul ties based off of the oxytocin and how the body, the mind, the soul, and the spirit processes the act of sex. There is no difference, in other words. Okay? There's no difference than when you're with a union with somebody that you love versus having a good time. The mind will process it the same. All right? Then you'll have a hard time, you know, leaving situations or cleansing yourself, you know? Soul ties, oxytocin. Look that up. Look that up. Make sure that you know what you're doing when you're out here. Okay? Let's keep going. Now let's get into sex magic. Let's get into sex magic. The reason why I brought up sex magic is because there's a lot to it, okay? There's things that are being done unaware, and there are things that are being done intentionally. And there is a healthy way to look at this, and there is a very detrimental way to look at this that will get you in a whole lot of trouble. So let's talk about it. Now, as with all things, there is a high level and a perversity. Sex itself is magic on its own, as we are entering into harmonious union. However, some use it to heal and manifest, while others use it to bind and control. Some don't even realize that they are using it. Tantra and Karma Sutra practices were considered healthy practices, as they treated sex as a more sacred and conscious practice, as opposed to just physical enjoyment or reproduction. So they understood that you can manifest, you can heal, you can come into union. They understood how beautiful this act really, really is between two partners who love each other. And they practice a way of doing it so that they can be holy. Okay. And what we consider holy, I'm going to just say righteous, you know, so things manifest, right? Now, where are we going? Okay. There becomes an agreement between the two souls who may have a joint focus. If sex is considered healthy and natural between loving partners, why wouldn't the divine be part of it? That's a lot of problems that people are having right now. They want to separate their sexual acts, their sexual nature with the divine or from the divine. When you're a spiritual being, the divine is there 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay? So this is definitely, the divine is definitely part of your union. It is the divine that brought your union together. It is the divine that consecrates your union. It is the divine that lets you, grow together, accomplish things. So yes, it will be a part of your sex life. Now, why does it get scary? Have you ever heard of le petite mort? La petite mort is the French pronunciation, okay? It's an expression that means the brief loss or weakening of consciousness. But what it's also designed to say, or to what it's been known for, is the little death. The little death, okay? Why they call it a little death? Because at the point of orgasm, you lose consciousness, ego, thought, everything is gone. You're in a void, okay? When you are doing that, when you are in that act, and you get to that orgasmic place, there's that point of the void where there is nothing. So what you think about can manifest as you become more alive again. All right. We call it the little death because that's where the consciousness is gone. That's where it's gone. So what do you think can be implanted during that time? If you're with the wrong person, where there's somebody with a negative energy, where there's somebody with a negative or dark attachment to them. During the time where there's nothing, something can infiltrate. We have to make sure that that something that infiltrates is of the highest consciousness and of the divine. Okay? The little death. Understand what orgasms do and that space that you are in when you are having an orgasm. Look at this, y'all. Okay. Check this out. I want you to notice right here. I'm putting a circle around it. When the sex are conjoined at the root, okay? The root is associated with the foundation, all right? So we know that the root chakra deals with your foundation, survival, and everything. So what do you think happens when a man and a woman engages in this act toward the root? I'll tell you, they reestablish a new foundation together, all right? This is what causes sex to be healing, all right? Everything can go away. You no longer have that old foundation with the root. You are conjoined now with your partner. Your roots are there. So you're reestablishing a new foundation. All things become new. All things become new. Okay? You could use that for the healing of the past root. Okay? Manifesting, creating, because all of that comes from here. When we're talking about creation, we're not just even talking about reproducing like another child. We're talking about everything that we bring forth in this world through our thoughts. All right. So all of this can happen when you are having sex, union, because it's in the root, it is a foundation. So when the foundation is now changing and you have shifted, and now our foundations are no longer separate, we're building a foundation together. So now we can plan ahead together. No longer me and you, but us. We build that foundation, okay? And this is how we start healing. This is how we start manifesting. This is how we are creating. Why? Because we're on one accord. All your religious texts tell you about what happens when we get on one accord, even though some elves might not have liked it. But y'all remember the stories, right? We get on one accord, we do beautiful things. Now, on the flip side of that, soul binding, control, manipulation, energy harvest, and cross-contamination. Pay attention to this, okay? There was a man when I was growing up in Philadelphia, an old, disgusting man. Old, disgusting man. You just sit out the window on his porch and just watch the young teenage girls walk up and down the street. And we were so grossed out by it, right? This man would send lustful thoughts out to one of the girls. And every day he stared at her, and then he began to touch himself. He became very, very infatuated with her. Before you knew it, she started becoming curious about him. He literally started drawing her into him or to himself through sex magic. Why? He was focusing here mentally, and then he was releasing himself into the void, and that idea started to manifest. Next thing we know, we got little girls wanting to go over to his house. We already know that they're disgusting. We already know this is not somebody we would date, but you'd be surprised how energy can be sent out to you, okay? And before you know it, somebody that you wasn't even thinking about, you're not even attracted to, now becomes the most loving person in your life. You can't do nothing without them. You want to be with them. You are bounded. You are bound to them. So people will use sex magic to bind you to them, okay? They could use it to control you. They can manipulate you, and they can do energy harvest. Sometimes this is done with candles. Sometimes this is done with pure thoughts, and it's perverseness, it's perversity, okay? Lusting after someone, touching themselves and thinking about you. Next thing you know, you're laying down, you're sleeping, you're minding your business, but now all of a sudden you got these thoughts that are coming through. The more intertwined you become in a sexual union with another, the more oneness you become. So it makes it easy for them to control you. It makes it easy for you to be manipulated, because you're not taking this temple seriously, okay? And when you got all types of things going crazy in your life, now you're trying to wonder why. Why? Because you have people that are using sex magic. When I say cross-contamination, these are they that are dark practitioners that will take the semen and spill it on objects, sigils, things of that nature. That's not what sex was used for. It was for healing soul unification, manifestation, and creation. And it should be beautiful. The bedroom is undefiled. Isn't that what the Bible says? So it should be very, very beautiful experience for you. But it just shouldn't be about that act. Even though we like the act now, if you want it to be just about the act, then you can enjoy the act. I got no problems with that. Whatever you do with your spouses, I have no problems with that. But I'm saying it can serve such a deeper purpose, because when that state of orgasm, that's when you really want to think on higher things. And you really want your partner to be involved in that process. Okay? Soul binding, control. Okay, check this out, guys. We want to alchemize in higher dimensions. So how do we do this? When a thought first appears, you have a very small window of time before action and reaction. All right? So the thought appears, then you have a small window before you actually act or react on that thought. But if you understand that that's where the warfare begins, you cut it off before it manifests, therefore altering the outcome. Do you understand? You want to punch somebody in the face, all right? You're standing with somebody in line or whatnot, they're mouthing off, they're getting nasty with you and all of that stuff, and the thought comes, I'm going to punch him right in his mouth. The timeline that plays out, if you were to act on it, it will be completely different than the timeline that plays out if you do not. All right? So we're focusing in that space, because during that span that it takes to turn thought into action is where the materialization comes. Thus, we learn to speak things in existence. We bring thought to the forefront, we allow it to materialize, and then we create our actions and reactions based off of that small window of time. All spiritual warfare starts here first. All issues start here first. When we're saying we're co-creating, it's because we're transforming how we are acting and reacting just by taking a simple time out to think about it. Just think about it. You understand? It will take you in different levels. Yes, there are multiple timelines, because each choice or decision that we make will branch us off. It'll either be higher for our own better good, or it'll be lower for the detriment of us, causing us to repeat another cycle. We don't need to do that. Remember the highest law? Once thought alchemy is filtered through the highest law, unconditional love, followed by the purest intention, it alters the action, reaction, paradigm, thus manifesting for your highest good. Do you get it? Okay? It's not just good to have, a good thought. Make sure we deal with the intention. Remember how I've always told you guys? Some people do the right thing for the wrong reasons. Some people do the wrong thing for the right reasons. The intention is what's going to be governed now. When it comes down to this new paradigm shift, it's all about the intentions of what's behind the action. You want the highest outcome? Make sure you have the highest intention so they can purify the thought. Once the thought is purified and how we're going to react and act to a certain situation, then we are either going to evolve beautifully or we're going to descend. That's okay. If you do go through a descension, you can always get back up, but you must learn how to deal with the realm of thought. You must learn. Wait a minute, who is it? I'm sorry. I'm just getting all types of text messages. It's okay. Now, here's where you're going to get a little bit disappointed. See that? I know some of you thought that you were coming in here to learn sex magic. I don't teach sex magic. Why? Because sex is already magical. Because we are magical beings. So if you tuned in thinking that I was going to teach you some type of sex magic, I already did. I operate as a master magician because I understand that everything starts with thought. If I'm saying to myself, I want to purify my space, I already manifested that in my mind. This is the intention behind now me lighting some Palo Santos, me saying a meditation, me saying a prayer. It started here though. So I already recognized what it is that I needed to correct. All right. So now that I have already recognized what I needed to what I needed to correct or what I needed to get done, I'm going to put the purest intention behind it. Why? There's a difference. There's a difference with somebody saying, I need to manifest $1 million so that I can go on vacation and live my dream life, versus someone saying, I need to manifest $1 million so I can get kids off the street, versus somebody saying, do you understand the intention behind what it is that you are asking of the creator or co-creating? If you've gotten there, that you're able to do that, the easier the manifestation comes. Why? Because we all create out of love. We all create out of love. Have you not noticed that? When I'm talking about creating out of love, Jaway said we got sex vampires too. That's right. So sex magic is possible solo or without a partner. It is. It is. Somebody put I'm not done with you, Kevin. I'm done. Excuse me. The thought, the intention behind the thought is the power that carries the thought. All right. So that frequency needs to be very high and pure, and you will see things move a lot quicker. I am getting ready to post a lot of y'all comments up here. I just want y'all to know, because y'all are really, really making me laugh. So we're not going to talk about sex magic. Sorry, guys, because I don't practice it. The true magician knows that they alchemize in their mind. We deal with the highest magic, and the highest magic comes from the highest law of the creator. Or we already know how to manifest. We don't need spell work. Once you understand the power behind thought and intention, you don't need to do anything. Your intentions is purifying itself. I focus here. Okay? I focus here. Now, if you need a little help, sure. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with rituals. Okay? Rituals get you into the mindset and the practice of how to alchemize mentally. So sometimes we have to do repeated patterns to get it. I didn't just automatically started doing all of this stuff mentally. I started off with it too. I burned all my sage. I took spiritual baths. Okay. You want to cleanse something. I've done, what do they call fasting? It might not be food fasting though. Some of you might enter into a season of celibacy. You're fasting. You're starving the body. You know what I'm saying? So, it's not an easy thing to do. I'm telling it to you and I'm making it look easy, but it's not. It's not easy. And the reason why is because, let's just be honest, guys, life happens. You don't sit around and you think all the time, okay, let me alchemize the situation when a thought comes. Sometimes you're automatically in reaction mode. Sometimes you got to just move right then and there, and you don't take the time out. So it does take a lot of practice. This is not an easy journey. But once you are able to get this, you will see the changes that you are needing, to move forward. All right. There's times that I don't even alchemize until hindsight. Then I'm like, doggone it, I should not have done it that way. I should not have responded that way. I should not have, said those things. Sometimes we go through that. But learn to master this. And when you learn to master this, you're going to see your world change. You're going to build healthier relationships. You're going to draw better people unto you. Okay. You're going to have the ability to build with like-minded individuals. You'll stop having the hurt and disappointment when people let you down, because you already know who they are. You're not going to expect anything different. So you won't deal with any hurt. You won't deal with any pain. You're going to learn how to, go back, deal with your childhood. Deal with the issues that you had with your mother, with your father, with your aunt, with your uncles, all of that. Understand that you are the curse breaker. You are the ones that's going to make a change about this. Okay? And you're going to process it exactly for what it is. Damage people or hurt people, hurting people. And therefore you will have no more desire or no hurt here, okay, to be projected to other people, because we alchemized it. All right. Any questions? Let me go through, because I'm done with my presentation. I'm sorry. That's why I put that little sad face up there. Some people, y'all came in here, was like, "Ooh, you gonna teach us something good?" Nope. Whammy. All right, let's go through it. Let's go through some of these comments. All right. Okay. Continuing to shine, offer them a position. We already rolled that one. Okay. I agree with you both. Learn to use the skill set in a strategic and positive manner. Okay. We want to put this up here too. All right. Some of y'all have some really good comments here. I just want to broadcast them because I love the way that y'all think. I am back in general. I am the black sheep and generational curse breaker in my family. Go ahead and show it. Let me show that. Okay. This is somebody that's confident. They not scared. They ain't scared. They're not scared to step out on their own and do something different and move in that way. They're not feeling rejected or anything, because they understand exactly who they are. And when you get to that point, nothing bothers you. Let's keep on scrolling. What do we got here? James Shackelford. Ancestral generational unseen curses. How do we destroy the unseen ancestral curse? Unseen ancestral growth? Most of the curses we can see. Most of it we can see. But when I'm not quite sure what you're saying about that. Can you please go ahead and clarify? Because if you're talking about unseen, or you're talking about the spirit realm, and if you're talking about the spirit realm, the ancestors are living through us. And that's how we can break the generational curses. We figure out, we go back in time. We look through the scrolls, okay? We look through all of the things that they wrote. We figured out a lot of what our ancestors have been through. And then we come through and we do something different. And when we do something different, we free the shackles of the mind that they may have been tied to. Like I said, a lot of people die in their beliefs. We have to clean it. Okay. We got Peace, Love, Queen. Who is that? But then you do. Look, I don't know what this means, but I'm getting ready to put you on blast right here. Now, where is he? I don't know what that means. You want to clarify that, Kevin? Natural tools versus physical tools. Okay, we got it. Branch Yogi said he's going to deal with the natural tools versus the physical tools on this plane. Okay, shadow work. Okay, so there is so many teachings about shadow work. And I'm here to tell you, Jamia, that, I have my own ways of doing things that typically work for me. And I'm okay with sharing that with you. I'm just not sure, if you'll have to just go with the flow if it resonates with you. When I consider shadow work, that's me facing my own demons. That's me looking in the mirror of all my toxicity. Okay. Everything that I have been through, looking at the trends of behavior. When I do my shadow work, I have to heal that which has been plaguing me, that is coming from me. And the only way to do it is not to run from it, not to bury it, but to face it head on. You can do so by going back into, your childhood in a nice little meditation, seeing the areas. This is what I did. Seeing the areas that you were affected in when you were a child. I was a scared little girl, right? Hiding over in the corner. When I went back in meditation, that's how I saw me, as a scared little girl, hiding in the corner, afraid of the dark. Okay. I had to go through that process of forgiveness. Forgiveness is about you. It is not about the other person. She said shadow work for understanding. Wait a minute. You are said erect. Oh, you said erect on accident. I don't know what he said. What was he trying to say? Correct. What he say, Jamia? I said what I said. Right. Anyway, shadow work. Understand the patterns of family and see how it has been reflected. Okay. So shadow work for understanding ancestral curses. You don't have to do shadow work to understand ancestral curses. You just see how it plays out. Look on the news. Look into your family. You can see ancestral curses. You can see if there's a pattern of divorce. You can see if there's a pattern of poverty. You can see if there's a pattern of enslavement or limited thinking or religious. You can see these in your everyday life. You don't have to do shadow work. But once you see it and you understand what it is, you yourself as the vessel, the way that you are moving, the way that you are operating is automatically going to do that. Do you understand? Yeah, it's automatically going to do it because you are the one that's going to get this right. You're the one that's going to have the healthy relationship. You're the one that's going to open up the business. You're the one that's going to teach your children, differently than the way that you were taught. This is how we break the generational curses. It's not really mystical. It's about knowing who you are and what your role is. And we got that. Okay. Anybody else? She said, got it. Thank you. No, thank you, Jamia. I love you to death. I just like the way that you think. Understand the patterns of family and see how it has been reflected in our present life to reconcile, to recalibrate our thinking. Ty is absolutely right. He just said what I said, but in a beautiful way. That's exactly what you're going to do so that you can reconcile your thinking. It's not so much the difference between the religious mind and the spiritual mind. Okay, there's a difference between the religious mind and the spiritual mind. When we're dealing in the religious mind, we are understanding the problems, we're attacking on the problems, and we're getting it to work for us in any way that we know how. When we're dealing with the spiritual mind, we're going behind the veil. Okay, so it's not even of what we can see tangible, it's the inner workings of why it's happening. The spiritual mindset goes to understand the things that are hidden so that we can bring that forth. It's not just enough, to know that something is happening. We want to know the hows, the whys, and whens. Because why? We've already established that a lot of the warfare starts in higher dimensions, right? So we're already going to recalibrate from higher dimensions, okay? Is there any other questions? Does anybody want to join and talk? Thank you, Joseph Franklin. I appreciate you. Peace and blessings, brother. Thank you so much. Anybody else want to break down? Anybody want to talk? Because if not, I'm going to go. And thank you for tuning in. All right. Well, if you have any questions, please let me know. And don't forget, guys, do not forget this. Hold on. Where we at? Focus. You can send it in an email. You can put it in the comments. However you want to do it. I want you to see if you can come up with some positive solutions to alchemize these negative energies when they come into your space. How you are going to utilize them. The usurper, the saboteur, the competitor, the busybody, and the infiltrator. Okay? We're turning everything negative into positive. You can reach me at dragonlotusms@yahoo.com. What is accepted as normal is not always correct. Blessings, family. I know that's right. Let me highlight that, Ty. I love when he talks. Thank you. But you can reach me at dragonlotusms@yahoo.com if you want to submit your answers. Once again, there's no right or wrong, but I would like to know, and I'm very curious of where you are in your alchemy. Thank you for tuning in, guys. My name is Sophie, and I love you all. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.